The biggest red flag of a fake guru, it's not they're losing bets, they're losing trades. It's not about the lifestyle that they put out on Instagram or Snapchat, all the social medias. It's not even about being wrong. The biggest red flag of a fake guru is when criticism towards him has completely disappeared. And I mean completely disappeared. You cannot find any disagreement about them online in the public eye. Now, I'm a sports bettor and I've been a sports bettor for a couple of years now, on the side, funding my lifestyle as I go to university. This video is going to be primarily about sports betting, but this principle and this general gist of fake gurus can apply to any kind of guru, whether that be a trading guru, a business guru, any kind of fake guru you can think of. But within all of these activities, trading, betting, business, they're empirical activities. Money moves around, people place bets, outcomes happen. In any kind of domain like that, there's always going to be opinions. Claims are going to be disputed. They're going to be ongoing. People are going to have a counter argument to every argument that you give to them. Disagreement is inevitable in these spaces. Losses happen, people get upset, and people question the methods that certain people might, put out on the internet. That being the course sellers, the gurus, everything like that. So the question is, in order to sniff out whether or not this person is really a fake guru or not, we need to ask ourselves, is there any available criticism? Now, a principle I use to get myself through life and to sniff out fact from fiction is any sort of disagreement available? Is it visible? And if it's not, well, then that raises a red flag to me. If someone has a large audience, a paid product, or just a long track record in general, then criticism should just exist by default. Alright, there's always going to be someone that disagrees with you. If it doesn't, it just makes me scratch my head a little bit. Why is there no sort of disagreement? People literally disagree about the most trivial things, like, should you or should you not eat fruit and vegetables? So when you see a course seller with no disagreement, how is that even possible, man? In every sort of scientific practice, in every kind of discipline, the discipline always improves through disagreement. So having someone that disagrees with them and, proposes a counter argument, you see it all the time in every sort of development, in every theory. Science needs criticism in order to get stronger, in order to develop more and get better. It also applies to every kind of practice outside the realm of just physical science. Alright, because sports betting in itself has intersects from data science, from economic science, and those kind of other social sciences as well. And I think you find in the scientific realm, fake practices, the pseudoscientific practices, they don't respond to any criticism. They hide all the criticism and they isolate themselves away from criticism. They don't let you talk bad about them because they have no way to respond to it. They're all charlatans. It's the exact same concept when it comes to fake gurus. When you go on a fake guru's page and they've deleted all of their comments, they just don't address any sort of wrongdoing, then that's a massive red flag. If you need to delete your criticism, it shows that you have no way of responding to it. You cannot defend yourself because you're a charlatan. You don't have a defense. It is so easy to engineer criticism outside of a public space. You can delete comments, you can apply filters to certain words. If someone says fake, you can filter that out. Guru, filter it out. You can knock out everything. Make it physically and theoretically impossible to talk bad about these people. If you're higher up within the hierarchy of a certain fake guru archetype, you can threaten people with legal action, slap action lawsuits. It happens all the time in the fake betting guru sphere, where really successful tipsters, not successful sports bettors, successful tipsters, they send you little letters to your house or give you minor or major legal threats if you talk bad about them, if you actually expose their practice. It's why so many of the big names in the tipping industry, it's why no one talks bad about them, because they just can't. They can't without any sort of bad negative consequence. But that being said, you do see some fake gurus, fake tipsters. Some of them do respond to criticism. The way they do respond to it tells you everything you need to know about whether or not they're good or whether or not they're bad. If you're in the business of selling a product, a digital product, or knowledge or advice, anything like that, the way you respond to things is crucial. When you respond to things, you want to defend yourself in a way that addresses the claims made by the critique. You want to explain any uncertainty and you want to acknowledge the limits of your own product. Some betting softwares out there, they do this really well, where they tell you that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. They show you exactly what the results have been, historical results, and they show you where this software fails. the bad parts about the software. They're really transparent about it. It just helps understand the limitations of that software, and you know exactly what you're buying once you do end up purchasing whatever it is they're selling. Someone who isn't honest, or who is not worth your money and your time, they respond to criticism in a different way. They attack the person, ad hominem logical fallacy, where you attack the person as opposed to the argument that they make. Suppose if I found a fake guru out there and I said he's a scammer, you have no edge, and he called me something to do with my race, alright? Then that's not, that tells you everything, right? Or maybe if you appeal to authority, you say, oh, in my company I have this guy's very successful, therefore you should trust me, alright? What, in some scenarios it seems appealing, but that person in your business could have a very limited impact on the actual business. So I could create a fake betting guru scheme right now. Well, I wouldn't do that, and I don't think I have the means to do that anyways, but let's say I did, and I found someone who was very successful in the betting industry, and suppose I gave him a large sum of money. A sum of money so good that he's willing to sell his soul. Alright, in that scenario, I'm sure he'll be very happy to join me in my fake guru enterprise. Even if you do have authority, just know people can be bought out, and soul selling happens all the time. And so don't just blindly follow people who have authority. You need to demand more from them. Another thing that fake betting gurus do is that they invoke vibes. And they talk about trust the process, and they throw around all these buzzwords without any sort of structure or grounding behind it. If you're going to tell me to trust the process, tell me why I should trust the process. Why is it that your system requires me to trust a process? Some bank softwares do this very well, where they explain variance in good detail and they understand the concept of value. And they explain that, you know, your results are not always going to end up where the value is in the short term, but in the long term it will. And if your software is able to show you where the value is and show you how much value you should be expecting to make, I think that's fairly reasonable. You know, that would persuade me. But if someone is telling you to trust the process without any sort of value metric, you know, you trust the process but you don't know where the end goal is, you don't know where it's supposed to be once you trust the process, and that's problematic. And that is when they're just invoking vibes and they don't really have a structure or a system behind them. So the genuine people, they address the truth, they're really honest and reliable, whereas the marketer, the fake guru, he don't do none of that. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a very important thing that people should be recognizing, how much criticism is available towards this person, this business, this franchise. I think it's very important we look at things in a more philosophical way, innit? What can I say, man? But yeah, none of this proves that someone is fake, alright? If someone does this, they could still have a genuine product. They could just be weird like that. And if that's the way they move, then they're stupid, but they could just do that, innit? What it does tell you though is something subtler, and that being that maybe they're not the most reliable kind of person. Maybe they're not the type of person you want to give your money to. Because any meaningful business would not need to do that. So yeah, if you're about to buy something and criticism has entirely vanished, then ask yourself who removed it. With that being said, that was a video. I do hope you enjoyed it. Just a little bit of food for thought, and you can apply this thought whenever you decide to buy sort of a get rich quick scheme, I might say, or something that promises you a financial return. Just keep that in mind and have that thought deep in the back of your mind right there. Yeah, hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know why you didn't. I welcome criticism. Yeah. See you later.